Hi everybody, welcome to another card making video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this see-through Valentine's card. It's easier to do than you may think. I start by stamping in the coffee and the inner rim. I'm using my stamping platform so I can position the stamps correctly and I can stamp multiple times to get a good impression. I'm using Memento ink for that. The images are from Latte from Lawn Fawn. You can see the coffee doesn't match up exactly with the bottom line, but that will turn out fine with the coloring. After stamping the coffee, I'm going to stamp the rim line. Time to color in the images. I'm using Copic markers and you can see the color numbers I use on the left of the paper. You can see I'm coloring horizontally and vertically. I always do this with images with a somewhat larger surface. This way the color coverage will be more solid. After coloring, I'm going over the inner lines with a black fine liner to make them stand out a little more. And at last, to finish up the images, I'm adding highlights with a white gel pen. Now for the card itself. I use a top folded white card base. I've cut 2 lines so you get 3 panels. You can choose how big you want to make them. The middle one will be cut off later, so when I place in the acetate later it will create a window in my card. On the left panel I'm going to create a custom pattern by stamping images randomly on the panel. I use purple tape to mask off the back of the card so I won't get any stamped images on it. I'm using images from Love You a Latte from Lawn Fawn. First I'm stamping the solid coffee cup with Memento Angel Pink. Next up, the coffee bean with Memento Rosebud. And at last I fill up the pattern with a little heart using Memento Lilac Posies. Carefully remove the purple tape and on to the next step. I'm going to ink blend the inside of the card so you get to see the beautiful background through the acetate window. I use purple tape again to protect the inside of the panels from the ink blending. I'm using Distress Oxide picked raspberry on the top and worn lipstick on the bottom part. I blend out the bottom as much as possible when the brush doesn't hold ink anymore, so it will fade into the white of the card base. I take my time blending the two, so it will create a nice and smooth gradient. Normally you could spray it with water to give an effect to it, but because I don't want my card base to warp, I don't do it this time. And again, carefully remove the purple tape so you don't rip the paper. Now it's time to add the acetate panel to the card. First I carefully cut off the middle panel by lining up my ruler with the edge of the card. Be sure your ruler really covers the whole card, because you don't want to cut into the fold of your card. To make sure the acetate isn't static, I clean it with a kitchen towel with a little rubbing alcohol. That's because you don't want to get any dirt sticking to your card when it's finished. I apply tacky glue to the back of the panels. I use my finger to smooth it out so it's distributed evenly and you won't get any glue leaking through when you add the acetate. I lay my acetate piece in the card so it's lined up. The acetate is cut a little bit shorter than the card front, so it will fit in perfectly with the fold. You can test this before you apply the glue. Now I close the panels and carefully press down on it a little so I'm sure the acetate will stick. I use the same glue to add the panels on the back to cover the acetate. These strips are also cut a little bit shorter to make sure they fit correctly. Now I finish up the card by putting on the stamped images. I've die cutted those off screen. I also have prepared a panel with a sentiment. I white heat embossed that on. My husband came up with a combination of the words from Coaster Critters, Loads of Fun and Love Your Latte, all from Lawn Fawn. He already came up with the idea of the sentiment, but he didn't know if all the words were in my stash, so you can imagine how happy he was when he found it all. I used the dies that match the stamps to cut just plain white shapes to add to the inside of the card to cover the back of the images. I also cut an empty black rectangle to add to the back of the sentiment panel. And now you have a finished card, perfectly to send to your Valentine or to give something sweet to your spouse when it's your anniversary. If you like what you saw, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to receive notifications when a new video is up. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye!